Today's game features Garry Kasparov playing as white against Veselin Topalov as black. White plays e4. Kasparov has won many brilliant attacking games with both 1 e4 and 1 d4. Here he pursues an open game. Black plays d6. Kasparov is probably the greatest opening theoretician of all time, so it makes sense to avoid main lines against him. White plays d4. It is of course correct to establish the perfect pawn center against almost any hypermodern opening. Black plays nf6. Topalov attacks the e4 pawn. A difference between the king's Indian defense 1 d4 nf6 2 c4 grams 6 and the Perk defense 1 e4 d6 2. White plays nc3. Kasparov develops and defends e4. Black plays g6. Topalov commits to the true Perk defense with a kingside fianchetto. He could still have changed course and played e5 and played a Philidor defense instead. White plays b3. As is his way, Kasparov selects an aggressive setup, developing the bishop to pursue a quick queen and bishop battery and castle. Queenside. Black plays bg7, completing the fianchetto. White plays qd2. This move already prepares queenside castling and bh6. Kasparov's attacking ideas are taking shape. Black plays c6, an intriguing and flexible move, rather than castling, which most beginners would play. Topalov adopts a very flexible expansion on the queenside, which waits to see how Kasparov will deploy his force. White plays f3. This is a very useful, often essential, move in such positions. Kasparov secures e4 and keeps a knight out of g4. Black plays b5. Topalov expands on the queenside, creating prospects for an attack on White's king after 000. Thinking about inconveniencing the c3 knight after b4 and giving space to the bc8 to develop. White plays eng2. This move is slightly odd since the knight has nowhere good to go right away and blocks the bf1. Topalov has benefited slightly from his wait-and-see approach that makes it hard for Kasparov to commit. Black plays nbd7. The knight develops to its most natural square, controlling e5 and c5. White plays bh6. A very committal decision from Kasparov. He elects to exchange the dragon bishop, but he must sideline his queen to achieve this strategic goal. Black plays bxh6. Topalov pulls Kasparov's queen to h6, where it is misplaced. White plays qxh6, recapturing. Black plays b-flat7. The bishop develops and adds important control to the d5 square. White plays a3. Kasparov takes a moment to stop, b4. Black plays e5. Topalov finally makes a control commitment. He also shows his plan. k7 and 000. White plays 000. Now that Topalov has committed, Kasparov does too. e5 weakens the d-file. And it is the perfect time to castle and put a rook on it. Black plays k7. Topalov places the queen in a perfect spot. It defends the dark squares on all sides of the board and secures e5. White plays kb1. A grandmaster move. Kasparov is patient and places his king on the safer b1 square and frees c1 for his e2 knight. Black plays a6. Topalov secures b5 as d5 could have created problems. White plays nc1. The knight repositions and frees the f1 bishop. Black plays 000. Topalov finally castles. In a classical sense, it is only here that we have left the opening, as both players are mostly developed and are castled. White plays nb3. The knight finishes its journey and has a possible new target, a5. Black plays exd4. Topalov can find no further improvements, so he decides it's time to release the central tensions. Although his king is open, he is hoping his better centralized pieces, c the bf1, rh1, and qh6, can. White plays rxd4. Recapturing with the knight was of roughly equal value. Black plays c5. The b7 bishop is released with a gain of tempo on the rook. White plays road 1. The rook retreats to the first rank. Black plays nb6. This one move activates both the knight and the road 8 in the fight for d5. Black hopes to advance d5 soon. White plays g3. Kasparov needs to active his f1 bishop and h1 rook, so he prepares bh3. Black plays kb8. Topalov simply anti-shotas bh3+. White plays na5. This complex phase sees several inaccuracies from both players. Kasparov plays to trade off the b7 bishop, but Topalov can let him have it and use the time gain to break in the center. Black plays ba8. Topalov keeps the bishop, but he did not have to do so. White plays bh3. Kasparov develops the bishop, but it would not be so useful on h3 had Topalov responded accurately on move 24. Black plays d5. Topalov finally strikes out. His king is opened up, but his pieces are activated. Black is even better. White plays qf4+. The queen recentralizes with a check. She's been longing to do so. Black plays ca7. Topalov's king appears to be fairly safe on a7. White plays re1. Kasparov finally develops his lat piece. Don't wait until move 21 to develop your rooks, kids. Black plays d4. Topalov keeps the e-file from opening and asks the knight to passively retreat. White plays nd5. Kasparov strives to avoid passivity and advances so as to avoid the e-file. This is the move which commits Kasparov to a sacrificial path, as, at a minimum, he will lose a pawn on d5. Black plays nbx d5. This is the correct knight to capture with, as the black king has access to b6 now. White plays ex d5. Opening the e-file. Black plays qd6. The queen blockades the d-pawn, which appears to be a goner. White plays rx d4. A thunderous move. Kasparov sacrifices a rook in the hope of a mating attack. Topalov has a huge decision here. Should he accept the audacious sacrifice or decline? Black plays cx d4. Topalov accepts, following one of my favorite maxims. If you cannot see a reason not to take material, take it. You will either get material or a lesson. White plays re7+. A second rook sacrifice to justify the first. This one cannot be accepted though. Black plays kb6. Topalov has no choice but to run the monarch up the board and attack the knight. White plays qxd4+. The knight on a5 is sacrificed as well to force Topalov's king into a mating net. Black plays kxa5. Topalov accepts the knight. His king is netted, but the final mate is difficult to force. White plays b4+, forcing the king to a4. Black plays ca4. Can the king survive here? White plays qc3. Kasparov threatens mate with qb3. He is combining ideas of qb3 hash and ra7a6 hash to stretch Topalov's defenses to the maximum. Black captures on d5. White rook swings to a7. Black plays b-flat7. The only viable way to defend a6 is to give up this bishop. White plays rx b7. Kasparov takes the bishop, but he gives Topalov a moment to organize a defense. And he is still down a rook. Black plays qc4. Topalov offers a queen trade and resolves the threat of qb3 hash. But he surrenders the knight on f6. White plays qx-f6. Of course, Kasparov would never trade queens. But he can win a knight while evading simplification. He also threatens mate on a6. Black plays kx-a3. Topalov elects to take a pawn and gain some royal breathing room. White plays qx-a6+. The play is forced from here on. Black plays kx-b4. Topalov has eliminated the dangerous a3-b4 pawns. Has he found relief? White plays c3+. Kasparov shows that the attack is not over. Topalov has no good way to respond. Black plays kx-c3. This is the most logical try. Topalov eliminates the pawn and runs his king toward the open center. White plays ka1+. There is something particularly beautiful about the queen falling back to the corner. Utilizing the whole board, both ka3 and ka5 allow Topalov to interpose with check and trade queens. Black plays k2. Perhaps the king will be safe on d1? White plays qb2+. Kasparov continues the hunt. Can black find a safe square? Black plays kd1. Topalov's king reaches the opposite rank. And it looks safe on d1. Kasparov is out of checks and still down material. Plus, road 2 and qd3+ are huge threats. Is Topalov just winning? White plays bf1. AMA to ZING. Kasparov delivers a shot that wins the game. The bishop cannot be taken. And the attacked black queen cannot defend checks on c1, c2, and e2. Black plays road 2. A great try from Topalov. He leaves his queen hanging and counterattacks Kasparov's queen. Once again, it appears that Topalov has saved the game. White plays road 7. Kasparov has all the answers. He pins the d2 rook and renews his threat. The black queen. Plus he now threatens mate on d2. Black plays rx d7. Topalov has no choice. He must take the rook and surrender his queen. White plays bxc4. Cashing in. Black plays bxc4. Recapturing. There is no time to save h8 as rc1 mate was threatened. White plays qxh8. The sting in the tail of this long battle. At the end of these tactics, the rook in the corner falls and Kasparov now wins with relative ease. Black plays road 3, threatening the f3 pawn. White plays ka8, defending f3 and threatening ka4 plus winning c4. Black plays c3, threatening a winning c2 plus. White plays ka4 plus, resolving the c2 threat and pushing black's king away. Black plays k1, hoping to attack and eliminate the kingside pawns. White plays f4, securing the f-pawn. Black plays f5, also securing a loose f-pawn. White plays kc1. The king firmly blockades the c-pawn and eliminates in hope of counterplay. Black plays road 2, attacking h2. White plays ka7, defending h2, due to qg1+, and threatening both k3+ and qxa7. Topalov selected. A good moment to resign here. Veselin Topalov resigns. Garry Kasparov wins the game.